Most people think insulin resistance is a blood sugar problem. It's not. And that misunderstanding is the reason so many people do all the right things to bring it down, still don't see the numbers move. I've spent years working with thousands of patients, reviewing labs, and researching what actually moves blood sugar and what only makes the numbers look better on paper. And what I've learned explains why so many people are stuck today. So if you've been eating better, cutting sugar, and exercising, but your blood sugar still isn't where it should be, this is for you. I'm going to show you the exact 5-step sequence to bring your numbers down, with each step making the next even more effective. But before we get into the 5 steps, you first need to learn the truth about insulin resistance. Because contrary to what you've heard, it's not your pancreas that's causing it, it's something else entirely. And once you see it, the 5 steps become a lot more obvious. Now, most people think insulin resistance means your cells stop listening to insulin, so sugar builds up in your blood. Your pancreas has to pump out even more just to keep up. Your doctor steps in and recommends medications like metformin to help your body respond to insulin better. That's the story most doctors tell, and it's why most treatment focuses on just the pancreas. But the problem with that is that it treats the symptom, not the cause. And as long as the real cause is ignored, the problem never truly goes away, which explains why medication often controls blood sugar temporarily, but the underlying resistance just keeps getting worse over time. So what's the real cause? Here's the part most people never get told. Insulin resistance usually isn't a blood sugar problem. It's not even a pancreas problem. It's a storage problem. Think about it like this. Your muscles are where most of the sugar you eat is supposed to go. Not your bloodstream, not your fat cells, your muscles. In fact, as much as 80% of all the sugar your body uses is supposed to end up there. So when blood sugar starts running high, the question isn't why is there sugar in the blood? It's why isn't it getting into the muscles? And this is where things break down. Your muscles have tiny doors on the surface that let sugar in. They're called GLUT4. You don't need to memorize the name. Just know that they control how much sugar enters your muscle cells from the bloodstream. When everything's working right, insulin tells those doors to appear. Sugar moves in, blood sugar comes down. But when someone is insulin resistant, those doors stop showing up. And they can stop showing up 10 to 20 years before any test shows high blood sugar. Not because insulin isn't knocking, but because the room inside is already full. Picture your muscles like little warehouses. Sugar comes in, gets stored, and later gets burned for energy. But if those warehouses never empty, there's nowhere for new sugar to go. So insulin keeps knocking, your pancreas sends more and more of it, and the doors stay closed. That's when sugar backs up into the bloodstream. Blood sugar rises, insulin goes higher, and the cycle just keeps repeating. That's the truth about insulin resistance. And once you see it, the solution becomes a lot more obvious. So let's start with the fastest way to make sure your muscles start responding to insulin again. And this is where most people overthink it, because you don't need longer workouts. You don't need hours of cardio. You don't even need to lose a bunch of weight first. What flips the switch is sending your muscles a very clear signal. Use that stored sugar right now. And short bursts of hard effort do that better than almost anything else. This is why high intensity interval training, or HIIT, keeps showing up in the research. In controlled studies, short HIIT workouts improved how well the body responded to insulin by as much as 30 to 40%, even when the scale barely moved. Why? Because intense muscle contractions do 3 important things all at once. They pull more glucose doors to the surface of the muscle, they rapidly burn through stored sugar, emptying out the warehouse, and over time, they upgrade the muscle's ability to burn fuel. There's one catch, and this part is important. That insulin sensitivity boost is temporary. Most studies show it only lasts 24 to 48 hours after a workout, which means you have to stay consistent if you want to see results. That's why the best HIIT program isn't the hardest one. It's whichever one you can actually stick with. And this is exactly why I built my own 10-minute HIIT system. It has 3 different levels for every exercise, so you can perform them no matter your fitness level ability. And the exercises can be done right from the comfort of your home. No gym or equipment required. The format is simple. Pick 3 basic movements you can do right where you are. Things like squats or push-ups against a wall, or jumping jacks or lunges or mountain climbers, or even running or marching in place. Then do 50 seconds of exercise number 1 as fast as you can. Open those doors, burn up that sugar. Rest for 10 seconds. Go to exercise number 2 for 50 seconds. Rest for 10 seconds. Then go to exercise number 3. At the end of exercise number 3, rest for a full 40 seconds. That's round 1. Repeat 2 more total rounds for 3 total, and you've just done a 9-minute and 50-second workout. The goal isn't to do each exercise perfectly. It's just short bursts of effort followed by rest. That way your muscles get a strong signal to use up the sugar. So if jumping hurts your joints, you can modify everything. Do wall push-ups instead of floor push-ups. Do chair squats instead of full squats. Step in place instead of jumping. As long as your muscles are contracting and you are breathing hard, you are burning fat. It counts. All it takes is 10 minutes per day. You could do that 6 days a week, and that is only 1 hour per week to significantly improve your insulin resistance. And contrary to what most people think, it is perfectly safe for people over the age of 50. In fact, research shows that older people actually benefit from it more than younger people. So don't talk yourself out of it before giving it a try. To make this easy, I'm going to give you 5 of my favorite HIIT workouts for free. That way you can start today, and I will put the link to that in the description below. Now, HIIT does something incredibly important. It burns through stored sugar fast. But here's the problem. If you refill those muscles all day, especially late at night, you undo that work before the next day even starts. Think of it like a warehouse with no delivery schedule. Trucks just keep showing up, but they can't unload because yesterday's inventory is still sitting there. That's what happens when you eat food late in the day. Now, most people eat dinner around 7 or even 8 o'clock. Then they snack late into the evening. Then they go to bed with their muscles full of sugar, and they wake up that same way. So when breakfast comes along, there's nowhere for that glucose to go. But when you stop eating for a 12 to 16 hour window, something shifts. Overnight, your muscles burn through stored sugar, and the warehouses finally clear out. By morning, your muscles are hungry for glucose. The doors appear, and you're ready to take it in. So let me show you a few different fasting schedules. That way you can choose the one that fits your life the best. The first is what I call the beginner schedule. This is the easiest place to start, to use a 10-hour eating window. For example, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. That gives you a 14-hour overnight fast. Most people find this very doable because you're not really skipping meals. You're just finishing dinner a little bit earlier, 6 o'clock, and cutting out late night snacking. Research shows that once you cross about 12 hours without food, from 6 at night to at least 6 a.m. in the morning, insulin levels start to fall significantly, and your body begins shifting away from constant sugar burning. By 14 hours, if you go 6 p.m. to 8 a.m., your muscles and liver finally get a real break from insulin without stressing your system. For most people, this is enough to start lowering fasting insulin and improve morning blood sugar. Now, if you want even stronger results, this next option works even better. It's called early time restricted eating, or what I like to call night fasting. Here, you use a 7-hour eating window. For example, from 8 a.m. in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, or I like to do 9 a.m. in the morning to 4 in the afternoon. That gives you a 17-hour overnight fast. This works so well because it lines up with your biology. The body handles sugar best earlier in the day, when insulin sensitivity is highest. So by the time you finish your last meal by mid-afternoon, you're stacking 2 advantages at once: a longer fast and better timing. Studies show this night fasting approach improves insulin sensitivity and lowers fasting insulin, even when people eat the same calories and don't lose much weight. Now, if you want out putting this into action, I put together a free night fasting guide for you. It walks you through exactly when to eat, when to stop, and how to ease into night fasting without feeling super hungry or stressing your system. It also includes simple schedules, common mistakes to avoid, and real examples so you're not guessing. You can download it for free using the link below in the description. Next, the intermittent fasting option. This uses an 8-hour eating window, most commonly by skipping breakfast, eating your first meal around noon, and finishing dinner by at least 8. That gives you a 16-hour overnight fast. It works because the longer fast keeps insulin low for more of the day, helping your body burn through stored sugar and improve insulin sensitivity over time. From a biological standpoint, it's not quite as powerful as night fasting because eating later in the day isn't ideal for blood sugar, but it's much easier for most people to stick with, and consistency is actually what drives results. Now that you've created the window, let's talk about how to get even more out of it. Remember how insulin is the delivery driver? knocking on the warehouse doors. Here's what most people don't realize happens after a meal. Blood sugar rises. That part is normal. But if you sit right after eating, on the couch, at your desk, that sugar has nowhere to go. It stays in your bloodstream. Your pancreas responds by pumping out insulin, and it can take 60 to 90 minutes to sort things out. That tired, foggy feeling that you get 30 to 60 minutes after eating, that's your body dealing with a glucose spike while your muscles are sitting idle. They're not moving. There's a simple way to stop that from happening. Walking. When you walk after a meal, even for just 10 minutes, your muscles start contracting. That flips on an insulin-independent pathway that pulls glucose straight into the muscle. It's like opening the loading dock doors yourself. Sugar flows right on in. Studies show a 10 to 15-minute walk after meals can reduce glucose spikes by almost 30%, and the effect can last for 24 to 48 hours. That's why I recommend walking and moving after every meal, especially dinner. And if you can't walk, it's okay. Standing up and moving works too. Do a few bodyweight squats, calf raises, march in place, do some housework. Any muscle contraction helps. Now, why dinner especially? Because it's your last meal before that overnight fast. Clearing glucose at dinner means you start the night with emptier warehouses. This allows your muscles to empty faster overnight and become more insulin sensitive. But there's still one thing that can sabotage all of this, something that damages those warehouse doors. While you're doing everything else right, I see it all the time. People come to me frustrated. They're doing the workouts, they're fasting overnight, they're walking after meals, and their blood sugar is improving, just not enough. So I walk through their routine. Everything looks solid. Then I ask one last question. What time do you go to bed? And what time do you wake up? And the answer is almost always the same. 5 hours, maybe 6. Right there. The missing piece shows up. Here's why sleep matters so much. Just one short night, 4 hours, 5 hours, can make your muscles 20 to 25% less responsive to insulin the very next day. That's not subtle. It's the same kind of insulin resistance you'd expect to see with significant weight gain. And when short sleep happens night after night, the effect compounds. Now compare that to what happens when you sleep well, restoring good, consistent sleep. It's been shown to improve insulin sensitivity by about 15 to 25%, even without weight loss. That's when repairs happen. Muscles recover, and insulin starts working the way that it's supposed to again. So it is important to get enough sleep. It's also important that you get consistent sleep. Going to bed at different times each night throws off your internal clock. And research shows irregular sleep alone can raise insulin resistance. That's why I recommend getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep if you can get it at a consistent bedtime every night of the week. That's the only way you'll ever be able to bring your blood sugar down and keep it going down over time. There is no rebounding effect the next day. Next, here's a fact that surprises most people. When it comes to how well the body handles blood sugar, the difference between someone who sits most of the day and someone who moves regularly is often bigger than the difference between someone who exercises and someone who doesn't. That's because when you sit for long stretches, your muscles stop asking for fuel. And when muscles aren't contracting, sugar doesn't move where it's supposed to. What's surprising is how fast this kicks in. About 30 minutes of uninterrupted sitting, muscle insulin sensitivity starts to drop, even people who exercise. So it's not just whether you work out, it's what your body is doing the rest of the day. And your leg muscles are a big reason for this. They make up close to half of your total muscle mass, and they're some of the biggest sugar burners. So make a point to move more regularly. About every 30 minutes, get up and move for a minute or two. Use the restroom, go get a drink, just circle your room, march in place, walk down the hall, do a few squats, rock on your toes and back and forth, do some calf raises. Even shifting your weight from side to side can help. Get those muscles contracting again. It doesn't have to be hard. Just make it a point to do it throughout the day. That one habit will keep your insulin sensitivity from shutting down between meals and in between workouts. That's what this whole system is built around. And these 5 steps work together because they all do the same thing from different angles, and they get your muscles back to doing what they're designed to do. Once that happens, the numbers finally start to follow and stay that way. Now, we just covered when to eat, how to sleep, how to move to control blood sugar. Here's the problem. If you're eating even one of the wrong foods, your blood sugar can stay high, no matter how disciplined you are. And most people who think they're eating healthy are still getting this part wrong. So in the next video, I break down exactly what foods are driving insulin resistance and what to eat instead to bring blood sugar down fast. If your numbers aren't where they should be, this is the piece you don't want to miss. I'll include a link to that here. Click it to watch it next, and I'll see you there.